I was always very interested in the idea of print and book design, and that sort of resulted in me working with the documentary filmmaker Sanjay Kak on his photo book Witness. Really got me very interested in photography and especially the photographic archive. The initial idea for this project started when I was researching the photographic exhibition The Family of Man. This was when I was doing my master's in curatorial studies at BAR. In the process of trying to identify how the reception of the exhibition was in India, I think that sort of led me to a lot of these magazines, and one great resource to just be able to identify what magazines were circulating around that time was The History of Photography by G. Thomas. While covering the history of photography makes it a point to highlight that photographic publications, periodicals and magazines and journals specifically, especially those coming out of the photographic societies, were sort of a very large part of how photography was advancing and how people had access to photography. So a few that I think I'm going to highlight here are, one is the Camera and the Tropics magazine. It was started by Ambalal Javeri Bhai Patel. He was a camera supplier in Bombay. It started as a very small store, but eventually it became sort of a mecca for photographic equipment in Bombay. And I think it sort of occupied this interesting space between cinema and photography, because it was specifically a magazine dedicated to cine and amateur photographers. So that's one of the magazines that is going to be a large part of this research. After that, there's the Kodak Indian magazine. So the Kodak companies came out with this magazine that was specifically for amateur photographers to pick it up as a hobby. And the content, very interestingly, I think it covers the fact that like the kind of details that are included as a part of the magazine are in fact the specifications of how these photographs were taken. And then there's the Viewfinder magazine, which was the official journal of the Federation of Indian Photography. And then lastly, the Illustrated Weekly, because I think what it did for photography was quite remarkable with respect to picking magazine culture as something to focus on, be it design, be it advertising, be it cinema. That's what really highlights the potential for a lot of scholars to sort of intersect with this project and bring in their own research. It would be interesting to see what the other sorts of content that they were exposed to and what is it that they were interacting with at that given point.